A long-shot effort by Democrats at the state capitol to decriminalize prostitution has certainly energized Republicans who see it as the perfect symbol of the left becoming too radical in Colorado. Our Angeline McCall looks at the attempt to make Colorado even more liberal on prostitution than Nevada, where local jurisdictions decide.
In Denver, even the bill sponsors acknowledge what's being proposed isn't often talked about at the state capitol.
You know, look, this isn't the most comfortable issue. I think there's a lot of folks who would rather that we don't talk about it.
Democratic State Senator Nick Hinrichsen is sponsoring this bill that would decriminalize prostitution across the state. He argues it will reduce violent crimes, result in better health outcomes for sex workers, and create more trust to report crimes to law enforcement.
People should be able to have confidence in their communications, and they should be able to, to report the things that they see that are really problematic.
If you ask Republicans opposing the measure, they'll tell you they don't buy those arguments.
This bill legalizing prostitution it's a terrible idea. It's really distracting from the real work at hand here in Colorado.
Republican State Senator Lisa Frizzell worries law enforcement would have a difficult time determining who might be consenting as a sex worker versus those forced against their will.
And so law enforcement, in talking with my own sheriff, Sheriff Weekly, they are very concerned about this particular bill because they see it as really creating so many downstream issues.
Opposing sides with different points. Data from the ACLU says that after the Netherlands legalized prostitution, the country saw more than a 30% decrease in reported rape offenses. But in other studies, the ACLU also found that Maine's law that allows selling sex but not purchasing it actually increases the risk of violence and threatens the safety of sex workers.
Another point from the ACLU, they found that sex workers in indoor environments like brothels experience lower levels of violence than those in more outdoor settings, like soliciting for business on a street or publicly. Keep in mind, this data is really hard as an apples-to-apples comparison because Nevada, for instance, only permits sex work in brothels. This bill in Colorado doesn't specify that kind of regulation. Also keep in mind that crimes that are adjacent to prostitution, like pimping, for instance, still illegal under this law.
Let's go back to the idea of whether or not this passes for all of the talk about it, right? Democrats don't need a single Republican vote to pass anything at the Capitol. So the question is, are moderate Democrats on board with this?
Yeah, that's a good question. We asked the sponsor, do you have the votes? His response to us was, well, that's kind of a tough one. Ultimately, yes, Republicans are going to be opposed to this, and it's really going to be those moderate Democrats that will decide if it even gets out of committee, which we'll be watching in the next couple of weeks.
And we're waiting to see. There's one person who's being replaced on a committee, a Democrat, and if they replace her with another moderate, it might not get out of committee. We shall see. All right, Angeline, thank you.